Go somewhere else. I can't take this nonsense anymore. How are you going to blame the defense?
I got the pouch. Screw green bean. Damn it.
But once you get to the sausage, I feel like we're doing something.
Go Jets.
And that's the other part of it, is the people are insanely jealous of this show. This show gets the best of the best, and it does a different way, with positivity.
He scores!
Ow, my head! No, come on.
What would you give up to see a Jets Super Bowl?
All of my friends and family.
Hit those milk thumbs, boys and girls.
Freeze run.
Hold on to your underwear, ladies, and stand by, bitches. It's now time for Talkin' Jets with your hosts, Matt, Ryan, and Green Bean.
Welcome to Talkin' Jets. My name is Ryan, and I'll be your pilot. I am joined alongside my co-pilots. I have Mr. O'Leary to my this way, and I've got 𝐻𝐿 filling in for Green Bean tonight. We got Mr. Egghead Jeremy coming in hour 2 of the show. Boys and girls, how you doing tonight? 𝐻𝐿, how you doing?
Miserable like you know, but great to be and thankful to be here to distract from the misery.
For those of you that don't know, 𝐻𝐿 does not have any air conditioning, and he lives in Florida. And that is a miserable time to be having June and no AC in a studio with a bunch of lights. So probably not a whole lot of fun over there for the 𝐻𝐿 household. O'Leary, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing well. I'm excited to be back and excited to chop up some OTA storylines.
Looking forward to getting into it. Before we get too far, I do want to point out we have made our selection for the Jets group buy that we're going to be doing this year. Going to be the Jets-Denver game we've been talking about the last few weeks here. But the link is up. It is pinned in the live chat. I'll also pin it in the top pinned comment after this video is aired. So if you're watching this after the fact, be down there if you're interested in hanging out with us. Really cool. We're going to get on the field after the game. We're going to have the tailgate. We're going to have shirt. We got some really cool shirts if you guys want to check out what shirts we got going on. Actually, I had a graphic. Boom. Talking Jets. Take a group by Jets Broncos. Very much excited. Going to be linking up with Tailgate Joe again. Just trying to finalize everything with him. You're going to get your ticket. You're going to get food, drink, music, field access after the game. But I'm looking forward to it. Matt, how you feeling about Jets Broncos?
Yeah, I'm really excited for this. Last year when we put the event together, we did the Monday night game, and it was cool. We had a phenomenal time with Tailgate Joe before the game. We got to go on the field as well before the game, but this time it's going to be a little bit different because we'll get to all hang out before the game at the tailgate and then get on the field after the game, hopefully celebrating a New York Jets victory. And right now, I mean, you could get even a little early bird discount if you hop in on this early. So if you're planning on going, I would say get it now before the price has to unfortunately go up.
Yeah, we don't have our confirmed seat selection yet. We know we're going to be in the 300s. But we're going to give you guys a price break for the first bunch of people that get in on it. If you guys are interested in coming out to a game, going to be a lot of fun. Yeah, we will eventually probably have a tailgate option as well. So if you guys are season ticket holders, you want to come out to the game and hang out with us at our tailgate, we're just trying to finalize everything with Tailgate Joe before before we make that option public. But we are looking forward to doing it. NY Flight Jets Talk says, would I need to buy 2 packages for me and my dad since it says 1 ticket only? So Connor, yes, you would have to buy 2, but let me see if I could figure out something different because you're obviously underage and can't take advantage of the drink portion of the tailgate side of things. So let me see if we can work something out. But we are very much looking forward to getting into it. We may do a ticket-only option, too, for those of you guys that don't want to do the tailgate. Haven't quite ironed that part out yet, but we will let you guys know when we do. So we're very much looking forward to it. We were asking 𝐻𝐿 if 𝐻𝐿 wanted to come. 𝐻𝐿's like, I'm going to be on a cruise, unfortunately.
Well, I'm going on a cruise earlier that month. That's the problem. I can't go on the cruise and then turn around and then have to fly up to Jersey and do all that stuff again. So I want to go. Trust me, I want to go. But more than likely, the game I go to this year is in is the Jacksonville game. because it's up here. Well, down
It's
here.
I don't blame you for that
understandable.
one.
Yeah, it's a little bit closer to you. Pretty near and dear.
Especially because Jacksonville might not play in Jacksonville this year. They might play in Orlando. So if that's the case, I have no excuse not to go.
Why would they play in Orlando? What's the
Because they're renovating
for
their
that?
stadium. So they're going to be
That's
out of Jacksonville for the next, I believe it's 2 or 3 years.
Whoa.
And the 2 stadiums that are up for like what's going to host them is either the Orange Bowl or it's Camping World Stadium now, which is like 15 minutes from me, or it's in Tallahassee, which is about the same distance from me. They're either going to play at the Gators or they're going to play here. They would have the stadium all to themselves here, but who knows?
It'd be great if we had to be displaced from our stadium for a few years, just until they like blow it the fuck up and get a new stadium. Oh man, I am very much in favor of not necessarily moving the stadium because it is super convenient for me. Sorry, Matt, but very much would like to see the Jets make some upgrades to their stadium. We got some cool shirts in on this year's group buy. If you guys haven't checked it out, we got the Let's Ride Aaron Rodgers riding a donkey because they ain't no Broncos. And we got the Jet taking off with the Bronco getting dragged behind us crying. So if you guys are interested in coming out, those are the shirts you get to pick from, as well as a few others. I think we threw the Yak King shirt in there as well, and the Rodgers Wilson 2024 shirts. So a lot of stuff to get into that you guys might enjoy. Now, without further ado, let's hop into the audio clip of Robert Saleh talking about Hassan Reddick. That's kind of where a lot of the news has kind of shifted today. Let's listen to it.
Robert, has Hassan Reddick been here at all this spring?
He has not.
You know why?
No.
He was before he left Philly, he was pretty adamant that he wanted a new contract. Has that been relayed to you guys?
I don't know that. I don't know. That'd probably be more of a question for Joe.
Is it? I know it's voluntary, but is it concerning? He's new to the program. Is it a concern at all?
No, obviously as a coach, selfishly you want everybody here all the time, but it is voluntary, and I'm thankful for the guys who are here putting in their work, and those are the guys who I'm going to focus on.
Have you had any communication with Hassan?
I have not.
Is that unusual?
No. Like I said,
Player?
like I said, for me, I'm focused on the guys who are here, and Hassan's a pro. He's been in this league a while. He's produced at a very high level for a long time. He's got his routine. If it makes people feel better, we know where he's at. We know what he's doing, and we know he's working his tail off to get where he needs to get to have a productive 24 season.
Do you expect to see him next week?
I do.
So, Matt, I want to get your thoughts on this first. What'd you think of Robert Saleh not having any contact with Hassan Reddick?
Yeah, that was interesting. That was my bigger takeaway point from that, is not having the contact with. And he goes to say like, "Oh, we know where he is, and he's working," which is good, I guess. I don't know. To me, this screams that he wants a new contract. That was kind of the rumblings when he was traded to the New York Jets, and then we were kind of debating whether the Jets should give him that new contract right now, or if they wait to see how this year plays out. And it seems like he's kind of positioning himself to get a new deal. Supposedly last year sat out of OTAs for similar reasoning. So this is common for Hassan Reddick. I'm not really concerned until we get to the mandatory stuff, which starts next week with mandatory minicamp. So if he's still holding out, if we'll say hold out in air quotes right now, next week, then yeah, we could talk about it as a legit concern, but I'm not quite there yet.
Tigo, what about you? How you feeling about Hassan Reddick and Coach Saleh not talking so far?
I'll care if Coach Ulbrich comes out and says he's not talking to him. That's the guy that I think needs to, like, if they're not talking, then it's probably a situation of much bigger concern, right? Coach Saleh not talking with Hassan Reddick to me is kind of a non-issue, just because, like, it's voluntary. He doesn't have to be there, and yeah, it's a new guy in a new system and all of this stuff, but are we really going to act like he's not. Like, we know what Hassan Reddick is. We know how we're going to use him. The whole NFL knows how we're going to use him and how he fits into our offense. He knows that. The coaching staff, like, if he misses next week, and to correct what Matt said, not keeps the holdout going, but starts a holdout, because he's not holding out. It's a voluntary. Then it's a conversation point. But him not being there, I'm not all that concerned, especially how much extra work or how much benefit is he going to get from running drills with no pads on.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's fair to say it's not a huge concern just yet, but I would say him not having any contact with Robert Saleh. I know you'd mentioned, if he's not talking with 𝐒𝐿𝐵𝐸, I would imagine if he's having conversations with 𝐒𝐿𝐵𝐸, he would have been having conversations with Saleh. So I would tend to think that they just don't really necessarily know what Hassan is actually, like, where his headspace is, unless Joe Douglas just knows it's the contract thing, which is why we obviously traded for him from Philadelphia. But having the uneasiness of, like, okay, what's going to happen with this guy? I think when you factor in training camp, when that actually comes around, then he starts actually losing money and starts getting fined money. Because I'll be honest, I don't really want to re-sign Hassan Reddick. I wouldn't mind, if it's this year and next year, if they wanted to figure something out like that and we let him walk. But I think he's going to get paid too much money, or more money than I think the Jets should probably be committing to edge rusher at this point in time, considering we've spent 2 first-round picks over the course of the last 2 years on edge rushers. I would prefer to let him play out this year on this $15 million contract and allow him to walk in free agency and try to recoup a comp pick. If that's the case, unless he's looking to not sign an absolutely massive deal, but based on his production and numbers, he deserves a massive deal. So I don't fault him for trying to go for the contract. Matt,
Well, what do you consider a massive deal? Sorry.
Oh, so a massive deal, I guess. I'm not saying like $100 million contract, but I'm saying like north of $20 million a year on a 2 or 3 year deal. Like, I don't necessarily want to pay Hassan Reddick $40 million for 2 years. That's kind of what I'm saying. And we got him for 15 right now. What do you think, 𝐸𝐲?
No, because the reason I asked the question is because there's only 2 players that are making north of $20 million at the edge rusher position right now. And that's TJ Watt and Danielle Hunter. And Danielle Hunter obviously just signed a new deal, right, with the Texans. But, like, Chase Young also just recently signed a new deal with the Saints.
Hassan Reddick is way better than Chase Young.
No, I agree. But the question is TJ Watt's contract is 20, and he's the best edge in the NFL, arguably. Is the conversation starting closer to the Chase Young number or closer to the Danielle Hunter number? Because that is a $10 million jump. It's $13 million a year for Chase Young versus $24 million a year for Danielle Hunter. And is there a number in that range that you feel comfortable with that you would say, okay, let's give it to him for, let's say, 3 years with the out after 2?
I'm sure there is. There's always room for negotiation. I think for me, being able to get out of it and not have a lot of dead cap when it comes time to sign Sauce and Garrett and Breece and JJ, that's my priority. That's kind of where I'm operating through this kind of lens, because he's going to play for us this year. He's not going to sacrifice his money for an entire season. That just won't happen. But I don't think, I've always said I wanted the Jets to franchise tag him after the year. I don't know if you can franchise tag a voided player. I don't know the rules on that. Matt, are you aware of how that works? Because it's an expiring contract, but it's not. Like,
I would think you're able to. I don't know off the top of my head, but my gut would say yes. That's fine because he's still a UFA. Like, he's still.
Has he been tagged before?
I don't know. I don't think so. I think he's gotten deals from wherever he's been. He was on his 5th-year contract, getting bounced from Arizona to Carolina, and then he played out that deal and signed that big 3 or 4 year deal with Philly. I'm pretty sure, because that was 3 years, $45 million, I think.
3 for 45. I think the Danielle Hunter contract is a good comparison for what Hassan Reddick would get, which is 2 years for $49 million. So somewhere around that mark, I think, is where he would be looking for on a new deal. They're comparable in age. They're both 29 years old, both pretty consistent double-digit sack guys. I think Reddick's a better player than Danielle Hunter, but I don't know if his money is going to be significantly more than what Danielle Hunter just got on his deal.
Do you think that Danielle Hunter, forgive me if I'm like jacking this up, like what other edge rushers are on that team comparatively? Like we just drafted Jermaine Johnson, we just drafted Will McDonald. I feel like the amount of assets being devoted to the edge rush position seem like it might be, maybe in favor of not.
The Texans traded up $1 billion picks to get Will Anderson last year. So, I mean, they're invested in the edge too and signed, a veteran free agent to big money.
But we have to remember, though, that Houston comes from that. Oh my God, I just blanked on his name. What's their head coach name?
ΔeMeco Ryans.
ΔeMeco Ryans. Jesus, I had his face. I couldn't find his name. We have to remember that ΔeMeco Ryans comes from the hard knocks of Robert Saleh, right? He's Robert Saleh Jr. and he likes that rotation, and that's what they're trying to do. And they did also in the offseason lose Grenard. Who was it? Grenard? No. They lost somebody in free agency who got a bunch of money to go somewhere else because they weren't able to keep him in Houston. So the Houston investing the money in Danielle Hunter was more of we lost the only other guy on our defensive line that's worth anything. So let's go and get Danielle Hunter an above average NFL edge. Because they're trying to build up that depth, right?
I mean, it is a lot of assets. Do you think that there's, I don't know, I feel like the Jets D line is so stacked and the investments of I guess maybe you make the decision closer to the deadline, or do you think something gets done beforehand, Matt? Like, is this like something that drags out into training camp and it gets ironed out, or is it like, hey, like tough cookies, you're playing on this deal. We're going to see what we have in both JJ and Will McDonald. We'll make a decision at the end of the year when we need to.
You could do it that way. I don't know how stacked this defensive line is if Reddick isn't a part of it, because you lost Huff and JFM as well. So they don't really have the depth behind those guys. Jermaine Johnson is a really damn good football player, and we're hoping Will McDonald takes that step. But, I think it is something that they would highly need to consider. They need 3 or 4 good edge players on this team, and Will McDonald still would be, pretty cheap at that point. So I think it makes sense if you're going to do it. I would say 2-year extension at the most. I don't think you're really going anything more than that because it lines up with the window. Honestly, like in a perfect world, I would rather just let it play out or tack on an additional year so it's 24 and 25. But I don't think we're going to have to worry about him signing like this big 3 or 4 year deal at his age at 30 years old.
Peter. Oh, that is a tiny message. Give me 1 second. Boom. Peter, what's up, dude? Thank you so much for the super chat. Says, would really like to see these contract gymnastics settled before camp and or preseason so that we don't have like 30+% of the roster unsigned in 2025. Yeah, I mean, the big ones in particular are Michael Carter II and DJ Reed and Hassan Reddick. Those are kind of the 3 that I think most people are keeping their eye on. Everyone else, �'𝐿𝐻𝐿s is probably going to be gone. I'm sure we got a few other 1-year contracts that we're looking at that I'm just forgetting off the top of my head. But where do you guys stand in terms of, maybe priority list, whether it's those 3 guys or other players that maybe I did not mention? Tigo, I'll go to you first. Hassan Reddick, DJ Reed, and Michael Carter II, and anyone else, I guess. Is there a priority to which one you would think has, pecking order for a new contract?
Yes. I don't think people are going to like the answer. I think it's Tyler Conklin. I think he should be made a priority. He's on the last year of his deal, and I think that he is much more important to this offense than I think people anticipate. So I would probably look at doing that. I think you're probably going into this year and you're telling Michael Carter and DJ Reed, we can only keep one of you. Go earn it. Like force the hand. Which one of you two are we going to? We can't keep you both because we're going to have to pay Sauce $1 bajillion, $1 trillion, right? Like, so earn it. Prove, like DJ Reed, go and prove that we should give you the deal that you've never gotten, and that we should kick Michael Carter down the road, or say, Michael Carter, show us that you're the best slot corner in the NFL and that you deserve 3 years, $33 million, because that's probably what he would get in the open market. And then I think Hassan Reddick's getting extended. I think it's going to be one of those things where it's going to be like a 3-year deal, but like the third year's fake. It's really just this year and next year, and then he's gone after the third year, and it's just the whole idea is to extend the money. But there's a lot of guys that are up for contracts that are interesting conversations, and I don't know if like DJ Reed or MC2 right now are going to be the priority.
So I actually like your. Oh, sorry, I thought you were done.
No, that was it. That was just, because like we just drafted a bunch of DBs. What if one of them shows out? You know what I mean? We're hearing a lot of things from Mr. Irrelevant and Key being good, Stiggers being good. Like
next year's draft's supposed to be really good too for corners.
Yeah. So the
like,
decision's going to make itself as the season goes on, but we'll see.
The 𝐿''𝐞𝐚 thought is an interesting one because that's something that I think a lot of us sort of penciled in as getting restructured at some point. And I thought it was going to get done post-draft anyway. I thought that was more of like a gamesmanship with the whole Brock Bowers potential, drafting. Well, if we restructure 𝐿'𝐶NCLIN before the draft, then it doesn't make any sense to go with a Bowers. Now I think you're at a point where, you get through training camp. I think there could be some, maybe health side of things. Like if someone tears an ACL throughout training camp, they're less likely to obviously, get a contract extension, and at least you can get through like the bulk of the summer. Matt, what are your thoughts on 𝐿'𝐶NCLIN and also those other three that I mentioned? Are there other players that you would want in the pecking order as well?
That's a good call out by 𝐿'𝐶NCLIN on Tyler Conklin. I don't know if he would be my number one, but he is absolutely someone that I would look to extend. I agree. I think he's going to be higher in the pecking order than a lot of people think for this offense. For me, I think Michael Carter in the slot would be my answer. I love DJ Reed, but I think he is going to command some pretty significant money as an outside corner, and I think someone pays him to be a cornerback one. And I don't think the Jets could afford to do that and then sign Sauce Gardner in a year or two to a massive record-breaking deal. Slot corner is relatively cheap. I think the highest paid slot's like $11 million against the cap. So if you're giving him a 3 or 4 year deal at 10, 11 million AAV, I think that's a lot easier to do than signing a DJ Reed on what would be another free agent deal at even bigger money when Sauce is due. So I think their hope is that someone like a Quantez Stiggers is going to develop and maybe be that guy, or Brandon Echols, who we know that they do like a lot. But, worst comes to worst, if they don't like what they see out of those guys, you could head into free agency on the cheaper side than a DJ Reed or the NFL draft and try to find your cornerback too and a new running mate for Sauce Gardner. But as much as I love Reed, I just don't know how you're able to pay both him and Michael Carter. And I think Carter playing a cheaper position at slot corner, which in today's game is incredibly important. So I think they should, they should be paid more. But to the Jets' benefit, I think that's the guy that I would choose.
Yeah, I would tend to agree with you on that. And I would say that Pro Football Focus also listed Michael Carter II ahead of DJ Reed on their top cornerback rankings. Not that that necessarily matters, a whole heck of a lot, but I do think that the value per dollar spent is going to go further on Michael Carter than it will on Reed. I think Reed's going to get a monster contract from someone, and that's not to say I don't like Reed either. I very much like him. I don't think there's a way for us to retain him. As far as 𝐿'𝐶NCLIN goes, I don't think 𝐿'𝐶NCLIN's going to get a monster deal, but I think re-signing him and bringing him back would make a lot of sense from a structural standpoint in this offense. I think he's going to understand playing with Aaron Rodgers is probably one of the better opportunities you're going to get in your career. Locking it in for 2 years and then trying to maybe get a contract beyond that might not be the worst thing either. Tigo, you were about to say something?
The other thing that I think kind of put the nail in the coffin on why Reed might not get signed is the Philly game last year. We missed both Sauce and Reed and still won. And with the defense looking good, we threw out practice squad corners and looked good. And so I love DJ Reed, but I just think the writing's on the wall of I don't know if we're
we
going to
don't
be able to
necessarily
keep
need corners. Our edge, like our D line's so good, and we could just get by with dropping 7 into coverage constantly. It makes things tougher for a quarterback.
You're going to put 20 million into your defense. Are you going to give it to Reddick, or are you going to give it to Reed when you won a game with, what was his name that got mossed by freaking Brownlee and had me making offensive rookie of the year videos because of it? Went out there and
the friggin' the arm like spinning, twirling out of bounds, kind of wild catch. Eric comes in. Eric says we replace Reddick and Reed with the first 2 picks in the draft next season. Yeah, I would say that's probably pretty accurate. I think corner. Edge, I don't know. Edge, I could see us trying to, hope one of these younger guys that we brought in, UDFAs, someone might spark in some capacity. I think they do want to bring Hassan Reddick back if they can. Obviously, we don't have a whole crazy ton invested into him as far as draft capital goes, but from a need to figure it out perspective, I'd like to see that done. If we are able to franchise tag a voided player, I would tend to go that route. I mean, ideally for me, if we have to lose good players, then I would very much look at the market of players that are cut by their existing teams and the trade market to bring in additional talent next year, as opposed to looking at free agents, because I want the maximum return on comp picks. And I think Reed, God forbid we don't re-sign Michael Carter second. If he goes somewhere, if Reddick goes somewhere, you're talking 3 third-round picks potentially in 2026 with those caliber of players. So I very much want to retain our own guys if possible, or look in a different direction. But Matt, I'll throw it to you. Would you want to replace these 2 positions in general with the first 2 picks of the draft, or do you see maybe other positions of need popping up? I know it's really early to be talking draft at this point. I don't know any of the prospects right now, so just speaking in generalities.
Yeah, I was gonna say this should not be where we're at with a team that has Super Bowl aspirations. This shouldn't be the talk in May of 2024, 11 months from now. But I don't think I would want to see them go edge and corner with their first 2 picks. I would hope that they wouldn't have to spend yet another high capital pick on those positions. One of those 2, fine. And again, we need more context of what happens this season, but I don't think that's the way that I would look at trying to replace Hassan Reddick and DJ Reed with my first 2 draft picks.
Tigo, if you had to look at these 2 players in particular, or positions in general, is that kind of where you would want to steer the selections in our first 2 picks of this year's draft?
No. Because I think Hassan Reddick is staying. I don't see you. I just think he's staying because I don't see the Jets wanting to do another first round at the edge. If you can keep Hassan Reddick for the Super Bowl window, then you're good on that front. And I think people also have to remember that we have 1 interior defensive lineman signed beyond this year. And this upcoming draft has a bunch of good interior defensive linemen, Jamie and Sherwood's is a free agent after this year, so you're gonna either have to re-sign him, or you're gonna have to find your CJ Mosley replacement. I know that we gave him a new contract, but he is getting old, so there's a lot of other places that you can look. And so, if there's any part of our coaching staff that I believe is going to be able to develop guys, it's going to be the defensive side of the ball. And I think it's way too early to be talking about the draft, but we also, Mike Williams is here on a 1-year deal, and you need a wide receiver. And what are we going to do about right tackle? I believe in Carter Warren, but does this staff, do you guys? And so do you go back to the tackle room in that situation, and so on and so forth? That conversation is going to happen way, way later. We have to see how this year pans out. But I think you're probably looking on the defensive side of the ball for the first round pick next year. And my guess, if it's a way too early guess, and you guys aren't going to know the name, but
it's all right.
If he
You
has
can throw a little bit of knowledge on us.
Howard Cross out of Notre Dame, interior defensive lineman. If you want a big fatty in the middle, Kenneth Grant out of Michigan. They're being looked at pretty well as a summer scouting interior defensive lineman. So yeah,
things to look at. Frankie from Flatbush comes in and says, some of these decisions will be made about positional value. So if Conklin gets extended, it may be because he can be had for 10 per or so. I don't know what his contract is right now. I'm pretty sure, didn't 𝐒𝐮𝐬𝐫𝐞𝐞 get like an $8 million contract? And I think the two of them were very similar, I think, at that point in time. I would want Conklin for sub 10, I think, if possible. But obviously I would love to bring him back on a restructured deal. If you could drop his cap hit this year, push a little bit more into next year, and then you create a little bit of salary cap savings, especially in the event you want to bring in like a mid-season addition, like a Devontae Adams or maybe someone at a position of need should we sustain an injury somewhere. But yeah, I agree, Frankie. I think positional value is definitely going to come into play here. 𝐻𝐾𝐿, same thing. You think positional value is going to be a big aspect in these guys?
Yeah, how can you stay it's how can you maintain your team's level as cheaply as possible? Like obviously, it's going to come down to positional value. If we didn't have a salary cap, you just throw money at the problem, right? But we do. And even then, throwing money at the problem is not a guarantee that it's going to work, but it's just one of those things where you have to look in where you can find value the quickest is the best way. It's not just positional value, but it's how quickly that player is going to provide the value.
The ROI on the investment.
Yes, but not just that. Like, how quickly do you get your ROI? Not how big is it, but how quickly do you get it? You need this is why I think, like, I was surprised with the Olu pick, because the ROI is next year, and you're trying to win a Super Bowl this year, like theoretically. And now, obviously, it's a great pick. It's great insurance and all of that stuff. If Tyron Smith goes down, awesome. But like I said, we won a game with no corners last year. Conklin was like the second highest targeted player on the New York Jets. No, third, because it went Garrett Wilson, Brees, Conklin, right? Yep. He was third. So, and then you see all the reports coming out from one of the Connors. I never remember their last name. Whichever one, Hughes, Rogers, the one with the baby. So I don't think the one who has a. Is it Hughes? It's Hughes.
Hughes has a kid.
You know, talking about how Conklin, they picked up right where they left off last year with Rodgers, and that connection is coming back. And having a weapon in the seam there is a really, really good value. So it's all about positional value and how quickly the return is going to come in.
John the Moore says, draft talks already, huh? Yeah, I know.
You did this.
Go figure. Thrown off the rails. On a tangent.
Yeah, we go off a little bit off the rails in the offseason. Not a whole lot of consistent stuff in here. Oh, hey, Jake's in the chat. Jake's saying 𝐻𝐿 Burks is lying or is a moron. Who's 𝐻𝐿 Burks?
They're arguing about
someone else in the chat. Zach Wilson is third-string quarterback in practice right now. Go see my most recent tweet. And then 𝐻𝐿 right below him says, that's not a fake report. Your hatred for Zach is so strong you refuse to believe accurate reports. Reporting was awful. What are they talking about? Okay, hold on. So Jake's got a tweet. I got it.
Jets
Hold on.
Forever came in yelling at people, and then people were like, how are we going to trust your take? You're still a Zach Wilson truther. Then Jake Assman came in and said, shut up. You talk about Zach for 3 years. No one takes you seriously. Then Jets Forever came back with he's QB1 in Denver. And then so did 𝐻𝐿 Burks, said the same thing. And then Jake threw a tweet that said that's like just objectively not true. And now they're arguing about whether the tweet has validity. There's the whole story.
So Mark Fury says, is it true Zach Wilson is currently quarterback 1? And then the tweet that Jake linked to was from Benjamin Albright.
There it is.
I don't know where that came from, but I would say that is the opposite of what we've observed at OTAs. Now, he ran with the ones at times because it was his day, but in admittedly small sample size of 3 observable OTAs, it's been Stidham 1, Knicks 2, and then a dash as if there's a big break, and then QB3, Zach Wilson. Matt, what are your thoughts on the whole Broncos situation? Are we going to be able to see a little Zach Wilson love week 4?
I don't give a shit about Zach Wilson and don't want to spend my time talking about him when the Jets are at OTAs and we have a ton of young, exciting players making plays last week and this week. I don't give 2 shits about Zach Wilson or the Broncos quarterback situation.
Oh man, I hope it's Zach Wilson week 4, like in the worst way. I know we don't want to talk about the Broncos quarterback situation, but I really want to face Zach Wilson. I want this whole defense to just pin their ears back. Blitz Crew comes in and says, next year, Watt, if good in pads, or McDonald at D end after Reddick. Stiggers, if good in pads, replacing Reed. Barnes making the team. Hit those milk thumbs.
Milk thumbs.
Thank you, Blitz Crew.
I have to giggle every time. Every time I giggle out loud. It's so good.
Oh, it's so good. Becca woke up when I was making that graphic, and I'm like going into the audio port of my phone, trying to record the audio, go, milk thumbs. And like me sitting there bare chested in bed at like fucking 2 a.m. Becca's like, what the hell are you doing? But as far as Blitz Crew's chat goes, so is that TJ Watt, I'm guessing? Is he up for a contract next year? Or is he talking about someone else? He's talking about someone on our team currently, I think.
Eric Watts.
There it is. Or McDonald at the end after Reddick. Stigger. That's like putting a lot of faith in guys that we did not draft highly, which isn't necessarily like a bad thing. It's great if we can develop them. But man, that does make me a little bit nervous. And as far as Zaire Barnes, is he making the team? I don't know. We're going to have a lot of really good players on this roster, and it's going to be tough. We're going to be cutting some really good players. And I think other teams are going to look at the Jets roster to try and scoop guys up, particularly on the defensive line or on the defensive side of the ball in general. Matt, your thoughts on these players per Blitz Crew?
Yeah, well, Quantez Stiggers is one of those guys that I was talking about who's looked really good in OTAs so far. Making plays. He dominated Allen Lazard, which isn't saying much now at this point, but he had a couple nice plays against him last week. Had a pick 6, I believe, on Monday, or maybe it was at the end of last week. I don't know. My time is blending together now. But moral of the story is he's been standing out. We all know that he obviously comes from a really cool background with him going and playing in the CFL. So he's a little bit older, played against different competition as, you know, in comparison to these guys who were drafted that played in college. I'm hoping that we get to see him in the preseason, and I'm expecting to see a lot of him in the preseason to kind of gauge how far along he is. With Zaire Barnes, like Barnes and Jarek Bernard Converse from last year's draft class, I feel like never happened. Like they're just a figment of our imaginations. I don't really remember ever hearing much about either of those two guys from last year. So I think both have a lot to prove, and I think both are kind of lower on the pecking order in this way too early depth chart right now in June.
Tio, what are you thinking about Barnes and JBC? Those two guys sort of do seem like they're on the outside looking in, especially with the new additions. You think these guys are making the roster?
I don't agree with the Barnes one. I think Barnes is probably, if I had to guess, it's his job to lose as linebacker 4 for the team, because I think we probably only carry 4 linebackers to try to carry as many other positions as possible, especially because everything that I've heard is that the staff loves Zaire Barnes. Now, JBC is the guy that I think is like, I don't think he makes the team. Like, if Stiggers and Key are showing up and showing out, especially because we're hearing that Key is playing like safety, right? If that's true, where does Converse fit in? Remember, we have Tony Adams, Chuck Clark, and Ashton Davis. I don't think any one of them is going anywhere. So you need a 4th safety. And I had that as Jarek Bernard Converse. We haven't heard anything about JBC, not just last year, but this year. And so if Key's going to take his job, now you have a conversation of, like, is JBC on the does he clear, and can we even keep him on the practice squad? Does another team claim him? I doubt it. But, like, does he make the team? Does he get cut? Is he another one of those, you know, after 1 year you just kind of, and he's a late round draft pick, so, like, who cares? But, like, Zach Kuntz, right? Like, we drafted him for a flyer and cut him the same year and then put him on the practice squad, but technically he got cut. And he went through waivers, no one claimed him, and that's why we were able to keep him. So I think the competition that like is the most interesting to me is Eric Watson, Braden McGregor. Which one makes the
depth on
team?
that D line?
Yeah, which one makes the team? And are either one of them better than Leonard Taylor? Because I think Leonard Taylor's making the team, but you can't keep all of them. Like, you
It's a
can't.
good problem.
No, it's a great problem to have. So, like, if Leonard Taylor is making it,
Mhm.
Is Eric Watts or McGregor better than Michael Clemens?
I mean, I don't know if Michael Clemens is like making the team. I could
Oh, I said
definitely
that
see.
Discourse came out. I said that already, and people were not happy. I think
Dude,
there's a
I'm
good
with you.
chance.
I'm not sure Clemens makes it.
I think McGregor and Watts, both of them, I think have a really good chance. And then that's not even mentioning Taylor on the inside. Those are 3 guys. Granted, they're all UDFAs, so the chances of all 3 making the team are very, very slim. But I don't think Clemens has really shown you anything so far that he has to make the roster over those guys if they show out in preseason.
Yeah, I feel like we've got 2 years of tape on Clemens. He really has to like revert back to year 1 and take another leap forward, or take a leap forward. We obviously didn't see that last year, and as much as it's cool to see like him walking in with the bat and everything, it's just not enough for me to like justify keeping him over someone that has maybe higher upside, that's on a longer term contract in a 3 or 4 year contract for a UDFA. So yeah, I am in agreement with you guys. I see Frankie from Flatbush comes in and says, I'll provide the green bean comment. How good is it to see 𝐎𝐵𝐲 getting called out by the beat in OTAs? Yeah, it feels good. I don't think he surpasses Ruckert as tight end 2, but I think 𝐎𝐵𝐲, it's tight end 3. It's his job to lose. I don't think anyone's going to supplant him, unless 𝐿''𝐞𝐚 really comes on and what Aaron Rodgers was talking about, over the offseason or whenever that was, talking about, liking 𝐿'𝐞𝐚 on the scout team comes to fruition. But I think the team really likes 𝐎𝐵𝐲 and the special teams prowess that he brings with him. Matt, what are your thoughts on 𝐎𝐵𝐲?
Yeah, so I think Kenny 𝐎𝐵𝐲, I agree with you. I think he wins that tight end 3 job over Zach Kuntz. And I get why people like the idea of Zach Kuntz as a weapon and as a pass catcher. But I think 𝐎𝐵𝐲, with what he has some special teams value, and I don't know if Zach Kuntz does. And I think that's going to be the biggest difference. Yeah, Tigo agrees with me. Love that. I think that, with those guys on the roster, like, if you're going to be one of the final, 5 to 7 guys on the roster, you better be a special teams player. And we know 𝐎𝐵𝐲 plays on specials. I don't know if Zach Kuntz can. Can he be a fun red zone target? And does Rodgers like throwing to him on the scout team? Probably. He probably does. But I don't know if that's worth a roster spot over a guy like Kenny 𝐎𝐵𝐲.
Sounded like Brian Callahan out here.
Talk to us, Tigo. How you feeling about 𝐎𝐵𝐲?
Yeah, like it's a nice story, but it's a nice story. But I hope that Zach Kuntz can push Kenny. I don't want anybody to just be given a roster spot. That's my biggest thing. I don't want anybody on the roster to just be given a roster spot. And I think the conversation is more likely isn't whether or not it's Zach Kuntz versus Kenny 𝐎𝐵𝐲. I think the conversation that's more likely is it's Zach Kuntz versus wide receiver 7. Is it Zach Kuntz versus running back 4? Do you keep the 4th tight end, or do you keep the 7th wide receiver? Do you keep the 4th tight end, or do you keep Bawden? I don't think he's making the team. Do you keep the 4th tight end, or do you keep the 4th running back? Those are the competitions that on the offensive side of the ball that are going to happen. It's not interpositional battles because especially at tight end, I think it's very clear. It's Conklin, Ruckert, 𝐎𝐵𝐲. It's like very clear. It's a matter of, do you keep Kuntz over? I don't know.
You think if it's wide receiver 7, so let's go down the list, right? You got Garrett, you got Mike Williams, you got Corley, you got Lazard is going to be on this roster. I think Irv Charles is going to make it. I think Gibson probably makes it. And then you're down to like, does Brownlee make it? Do they want to carry a 7th wide receiver? Is there any truth to what Joe Douglas said at the end of the offseason or at the end of the regular season where he said, if I could have gone back, I would have carried a 10th offensive lineman? Because if that's the case, then you got to figure out a spot for that. Not to mention, if they don't IR Jordan Travis, we are carrying a 3rd quarterback, and you are carrying one less player into the season than you otherwise would have, which is why I think we should IR Travis if you can. I don't know. It's going to be fascinating. Matt, any thoughts on wide receiver 7 versus like, I'll be honest, I don't know if I necessarily want a tight end 4, but I guess all it takes is one person to go down. I don't know. I would rather keep I'd rather keep the O lineman, honestly, than either receiver or tight end. Matt, your thoughts?
So it's going to be so tough, which is a good problem to have because the Jets roster is in a good place. I think they're going to carry 7 receivers. I think it will be Brownlee, Irv Charles, and Xavier Gipson. All 3 make it. I don't think they end up carrying 4 tight ends, and I think they end up carrying 9 offensive linemen. So maybe they don't carry the 10 there, and that's where they end up saving. But these are the tough choices that you have to make. Like the staff talks up and the fans like guys like Xavier Gipson and Jason Brownlee, but there's a chance that one of them might not make this roster in a couple months here, and that's the unfortunate part of the business. And having a really good team, you have to make those tough calls.
So, any thoughts on like Tariq Cohen and him getting added to the Jets roster? Does he bump out Izzy? Does anything happen with that move, or is it just purely a camp body? We know the special teams rules have changed. He was a really good special teams player back 2020 or 2021 before he sustained that ACL injury. Been out of football a long time. Obviously, after the ACL, had an Achilles injury right after that. Lost both his brothers in that stretch of time as well. 𝐻𝐾𝐽, as far as running back 4 is concerned, do you think Izzy's job is kind of safe for running back 4? Do you think there's a possibility we carry 3 running backs? We did carry 4 last year. And what do you think Tariq Cohen's role is on this team?
These are the conversations that I think we're going to have the most fun with this summer, because it's Tariq Cohen. Tariq Cohen is being brought in as a camp body that they hope pans out into something, right? Because we know how good he can be, right? He is is it Pro Bowl or All Pro? I think he's an All Pro special teamer, because I think he made the All Pro return man in his sophomore year in the NFL. And so, but again, you're just taking a flyer on a guy. Like, let's not act like he wasn't just cut by Carolina, right? Carolina is letting fans try out to make their NFL roster. Like, they're not in a good spot. So and I'm not trying to crap on that. If it works out, it is one of the best stories. Like, this is one of those things that we're going to look back on a couple of years away and be like, you remember when we gave Tariq Cohen his shot in the first of the back-to-back Super Bowls, and he earned the job, and he came, and it was like, oh my God, he spent 3 years out of football, and he came back, and he helped lead the team and was an all-pro special teamer. And remember the punt return kick in the AFC Championship game? That'll be a great story, but that's what we're hoping, is that it's a great story, and that's it.
Matt, your thoughts on Cohen?
It is a really good story. I think he has a chance to make it on special teams. I will say, and obviously, again, this is subject to change of what happens over the next month or so, Cohen has gotten more reps with the 1s and 2s than Izzy. Izzy, according to people who've been there, has not gotten really any run with the 1 or the 2s. So that, I think you have to take into account, at least right now, with where they are on the pecking order. I don't think it's unfair to say that Cohen might be ahead of 𝐒𝐿𝐵𝐾𝐻. And again, that can change in August. We see guys move up and down the depth chart as training camp goes on. But right now, if they were making the 53-man roster today, I think Izzy's on the bubble, and it might be a tough spot for him to make it, which sounds crazy because he was just drafted last year. But I don't know if he's making this team.
So I want to get to Blitzcrew's comment in just a second, but I wanted to pull up Zachary's comment right here. Did they talk about our 2 rookie running backs showing out in camp? We have not. Braylon Allen has been an absolute stud, though. I am very excited for this running back. Another similar situation, I feel like, to Breece Hall, where he did not get a lot of receiving targets in college. Believe it or not, Nathaniel Hackett is the best offensive coordinator that has utilized Breece Hall in terms of a receiving game, which is absolutely bananas to consider. But Breece did not get a lot of receptions in college, and neither did Braylon Allen. Now we're seeing him catch out of the backfield. He's definitely going to be a powerhouse in terms of running the ball up the middle as well. A little bit of finesse to his game. I like his stiff arm. I very much am looking forward to him filling in the the gap on our running back squad that should have been filled by Dalvin Cook. And then from Isaiah Davis's perspective, this guy just wants to hit people. His comment to Dom C at the Senior Bowl was, I love finding the blitzing linebacker and knocking him on his ass. Like, that is exactly the type of player we want lined up alongside Aaron Rodgers. Now, he did get pulled off the field earlier today because he lined up in the wrong formation and Aaron Rodgers sent him off the field. So I guarantee he's probably not going to make that mistake a second time. But Matt, I want to hear your thoughts first. Then we'll go to Tigo on our 2 young running backs, Braylon Allen and Isaiah Davis.
Yeah, so those are also 2 guys who I think have already jumped Izzy on the depth chart. But I think Braylon Allen, the biggest surprise for me so far has been his ability as a pass catcher, because like it's not like they tried it at Wisconsin and he just wasn't good at it. It was not a part of his game. Like, they really did not do that whatsoever. So him adding that element, I think, makes him a more versatile back. And to me, he is the leader by far at RB2 at the moment. Isaiah Davis, I think, is going to end up passing, Tariq Cohen and 𝐒𝐮𝐫𝐞𝐚 on the roster and end up being that third back. But I think it's going to be Breece, big gap, Braylon Allen, RB2, and then a really big gap in everyone else kind of the field after that. But for me, I think Allen's going to be a piece that they use relatively regularly as an RB2 in this offense. Anytime Breece Hall, needs a rest on a drive, it's going to be Braylon Allen coming in. I don't think we see a ton of RB3 and 4.
Tigo, what about you? What do you think about our 2 young running backs?
Yeah, no, I think I love the grit that we're adding to this offense, right? Just big, mean mofos that just like old school football. They just like violence, period. That's it. They just like the violent part of the game. And Isaiah Davis is like a perfect example of that. It's just like he's looking for the contact. Like the same thing with Braylon Allen. Braylon Allen isn't trying to make a guy miss. Braylon Allen is trying to remind that guy 3 days from now, damn, I tried to tackle him and that was not a good idea. Like, felt that one. I'm still sore. And like, we got a game in 3 days. Like, I can't be thinking about the Jets. Like, that's how they play. And so I love that. And I will just defend the OCs just a little bit. That, like, with Braylon Allen and with Breece Hall. Because, like, a lot of people are like, how did you not know that Breece could catch? And I don't think that was the issue. I think the issue wasn't that he couldn't catch. I think the issue is that neither one of them are all that great at route running. So it's hard to give them more than just like, hey, just run to the flat. It's hard to give them like a Texas route and to do those things. Like, there is a reason that Christian McCaffrey just got his deal. It's because he's a good route runner on top of all of the things that he does as a running back. And I think that's where Breece and Braylon need to develop their game, because I think they have the hands. I think we saw that from Breece last year. He has the hands to catch effectively. It's just, can he run routes effectively? And that's what I've been talking about this entire offseason. That's the only thing I wanted Breece Hall working on this offseason is, dude, work on your route running. Because if we can put you out wide, like if we can motion you out wide and like line you up as a receiver and have you legitimately run an NFL wide, like an NFL route, best running back in the NFL. Like he'd chase Christian McCaffrey and he'd catch him really, really quick if he adds that to his game, because I think he's just so damn good as a running back. If he can add like legit route running to his level, the ceiling is unimaginable with Breece Hall.
Real briefly on that Christian McCaffrey contract, 2 years, $19 million a year. I love that deal because that is basically a cheaper wide receiver that is also a filthy running back. So like, as much as that's a lot of money to pay a quote unquote running back, for an offensive weapon, I think it's a home run considering the production they've gotten out of him all day. Tigo, any last words before we eject you for Jeremy?
No, I'm going to go take an ice bath now.
There you go.
Oh.
Tigo doesn't have AC down in Florida. I feel bad for you, dude. You've been ejected from the cockpit. Boom. You're out of here.
Tigo. That was nice with Tigo on today. Oh, and now we get Jeremy.
Now we got friggin' Egghead with us. What's up, Egghead? How you doing?
Excited, guys. What's up?
Before we hop off this question and move on to Blitzcrew's comment, what do you think about our two young running backs in Braylon Allen and Isaiah Davis?
I think we're hearing great things, and it's always great to hear great things. So I never had a doubt about Braylon Allen. I mean, I've been on this guy for so long, just following this guy, hoping we get him. Like we've been so excited about him. So it's just affirming everything that we believed. And at this point, I'm going to listen to the people that are saying shut up and let's see what he has like in a game. And I understand that a lot of times running backs, you have to give them some time too. So it might not be he gets in there and he's going to take over the league all at once. But I have a really good feeling about him. And I think that we made our running back room really, really strong.
So one thing I did hear is that Nathaniel Hackett, when he was called down from I guess they have a separate room for the offensive coaching staff, like aside from the war room. And when they're going to make an offensive pick, they pull the guys down and say, hey, you got to get on the phone. When they were calling Braylon Allen for the draft pick, Hackett was told they're going to hey, you got to come down to the draft room. We're taking a running back. And he thought it was Isaiah Davis at the time. And they told him it was Braylon Allen. He was like, what the heck? Not that he was necessarily like upset, but he really wanted this, this kid Davis. And then, obviously just a few picks later, we wind up going with him. So it's kind of cool that, we all like Allen. I mean, maybe there's some concern that Hackett likes Davis, but I think a lot of us like Davis as well. Blitzcrew coming in. McGovern coming back. Where is the interior offensive line depth? Yeah, I don't know. I mean, we're beyond the June 1st mark at this point, so I would have thought this was when some salary cap space kind of wiggles free. Maybe we roll into training camp and see what our current young guys are on the roster. I believe we do have 90 right now. Currently with us. So I guess someone would have to get cut. I am a very big fan of bringing back Connor McGovern. I think having some veteran center depth and some just interior offensive line depth would be huge. I don't know why we haven't heard anything about it. Maybe it just means the Jets are moving on from him. Matt, what are your thoughts on Connor McGovern?
Yeah, I am definitely a fan of the idea of adding some interior offensive linemen because right now, I think you feel pretty good about your number 3 and number 4 tackle with Olu as number 3 and Carter Warren's your number 4 tackle. Right now on the interior, you have Wes Schweitzer as your number 1 backup, and then your number 2 is Xavier Newman, I guess. Like it's a crop of Newman. Our lads actually has Max Mitchell as the backup right guard right now. Jake Hansen, Chris Glazer. Jeremy's favorite, Brady Latham. Maybe UDFA Brady Latham ends up winning that job, but there's not a ton of proven commodities at the backup interior offensive line spot. So I am on board with that call.
Jeremy, your thoughts on Connor McGovern and why we haven't heard his name called yet?
It's baffling. It must be the injury was my thinking and have been my thinking. I don't understand. He's better than Wes. It makes no sense to me at all whatsoever. I thought it was a no-brainer we bring him in. You got yourself a middle of the league, somewhere in the middle of the pack center as your backup who can play right or left guard, who's a veteran, who's been on this team, who knows these players. It just doesn't seem sensible in any way other than that maybe he has an injury. I do like and I love Brady Latham, but he's an undrafted free agent, and I'm very realistic about that. I'm excited about the potential that we may have found somebody. I like the kid. I love his film. I love what he did in college, but you can't rely on that at all. I do not want to see Brady Latham playing for us because we didn't sign Connor McGovern and we have injuries. That would be absolutely not the scenario I want. I want Brady Latham to play one day because he wins the job.
Hype comes in. What's up, Hype? He says running backs are comparable in size and speed, so if one gets injured, there will be no change in the game plan. Look at the speed and size of our 4 running backs. Yeah, I mean, they're all bigger dudes. I mean, Izzy's seems slender. Where does he fall in terms of size, weight comparison to the other guys? He feels like he's probably the smallest.
By far. I'm going to look it up now, but it's 5'11", 215. So not as small as I thought, but in comparison, much smaller than Isaiah Davis and Braylon Allen. Tariq Cohen's got to be pretty small too. I would imagine he is 5'6", 181.
5'6". He's so tiny. He's so tiny. I could see that being maybe not making the team based on those metrics. Jeremy, what are your thoughts on Tariq Cohen and what his role may or may not be on this team moving forward?
I think Tariq Cohen is a guy fighting for a roster spot, trying to make a great story, come back once they get back in. And this new kickoff rule is giving him a possible opportunity to do that. I don't think it's anything that anybody should consider moves the needle at all, unless he actually comes back at the level he was before all the injuries and gives us this special team weapon. Then all of a sudden that could move the needle because it only takes one play at the right moment to do it. But I think we have to slow down on him and forget about the name and look at the reality. This is a guy who hasn't played in a lot of years. This is a guy that brings one thing and one thing only to the team. A special teams weapon on kickoff returns. I mean, that's what he is. And hey, I'm a Jets fan. I want him to find his old form and be that good. I would love to have a kickoff returner who could bring one back every once in a while.
It would be wonderful. Adam comes in and says, Jeremy's head is a lot bigger than Tigo's. I would say the camera angle might have a little bit to do with that, but I mean, it also may not. Jeremy's just got a big head.
I do.
Hennessy also says, please keep your shirt on, Jeremy. For those of you that missed the draft reaction, Nick Shine and Jeremy doing a little belly bump. Quite impressive. Jeremy, we got to get Jeremy's thoughts.
Robert has
we got to switch this off. What are your thoughts on these shirts, Jeremy, for the Jet Bronco game?
I love the ones at the top left.
Let's ride.
I got the Feed Bree shirt, and it sent me a lot of play, man. I was in North Carolina at the airport, and someone was, I love that shirt, dude. So I love your shirts, Ryan. You're a freaking genius with this stuff. But I like the A-Rod. Let's ride. That's awesome.
That's a fun one. For those of you guys that didn't hear, we will be doing our group buy. Jets Broncos, week 4, September 29th, 1 p.m. kickoff. We'll be going on the field after the game. Shirt included. So one of those two shirts or a shirt of your choosing on the store that comes up. I think we have the Rodgers Wilson 2024 shirt on there and the 𝐎'𝐿𝐾𝐞 also available for it. Gonna get food, alcoholic beverages, and music from Tailgate Joe. We're very much looking forward to it. If you guys are interested in getting tickets, the pinned comment in the live chat will take you over to our page to get your tickets. We are giving a little bit of a discount right now because we don't officially know where our seats currently are. That price is going to jump. I believe we said June 15th. So if you are thinking about coming out to a game, you want to do that, save yourself a few bucks by buying a little bit earlier. But we're really looking forward to it. Jeremy, what are you doing week 4?
You just caught me. I was checking flights. I want to see what the price is. I was with the client just like for the last hour. I did not know this. I mean, I figured it out when I saw the Broncos shirt, what that probably meant. I'm super excited. I'm going to look into it right away, and hopefully, fingers crossed, I get a good deal on a flight and I can make it. I absolutely want to be
awesome. Yeah, this goes to show just how much conversation myself, Green Bean, and Matt had with Tom Tiga and Jeremy beforehand. So we forgot to send this graphic over in the group chat. So bam, there you go. We're looking at week 4 for the Talkin Jets get together. It was a good time last year. Obviously, we didn't win because it was the Chargers game, but I'm expecting to wipe the damn floor, and hopefully Zach Wilson's the quarterback on the other side of things. If not, we could beat up on a rookie Bo Nix. Matt, who do you think the quarterback's going to be for that game?
Well, right now, Jarrett Stidham's QB1. So it very well could be Jarrett Stidham against Aaron Rodgers in week 4. So I'll take my shot against any of those three. I think the Jets should handle business against any of those quarterbacks. So pick one out of a hat. Doesn't matter to me.
Jeremy, your thoughts on who the quarterback's going to be week 4?
I'm with Matt. Neither of the three really scare me. I think that I think, believe it or not, I can't believe I'm going to say this. Skill wise, I'm not afraid of him, but like, if anyone has the motivation or the weird, if you go back to if you go to my PTSD, being a Jet fan, I don't want to see Zach Wilson, because even though it makes no sense and we should crush him and slaughter him, I've just seen too many bad things and I've lived through too many bad things, and I don't think I could handle losing to Zach Wilson. So I almost hope it's not him, because I don't want to even risk or play that game that I fly across the country and watch this team to lose to Zach Wilson. You might not ever see me again if that happens.
He's going to be jumping off the top of MetLife.
I might jump off the plane on the way home.
Oh, geez. Hype says Izzy and Brees are the same size and same 40. So Matt did read off the size, I believe, of Izzy. It surprised us. I do think that does sound right. I think Brees was like 220 last I saw. But I would not have guessed same 40. Like the two of them just do not. Brees just glides.
Brees Hall's 2 inches taller.
Okay.
And 5 pounds heavier, but they're similar in stature. I don't remember the 40 times off the top of my head. I could look that up now.
Yeah, I'm not sure what Brees's would have been, or if did Brees run at the combine?
Or 4.41 is
Okay.
Izzy's unofficial, and then it was, let's see,
I feel like that's probably right around Brees's too.
4.39. Yeah, so
Okay.
that's pretty damn close.
Interesting. Let's see. Just going through the chat real quick as I scroll down. I see people asking, where are the seats for our group buy? So they're going to be in the 300 section. I think they're going to be upper sideline, so like 30-yard line, kind of where we sat last year. For those of you guys that came out with us. Bird's eye view, we're not going to do anything in the end zone. So it'll be something, there, or, 20-yard line or something like that. But we'll be up in the 300.
Yeah, I believe we were 340 or 341 last. I'm going to say 340. I'm pretty comfortable
I think
with that.
340 sounds familiar. That sounds right. I think when I was editing everything, that's what popped through. So I don't know if we're in 340, but one of those 4 portions of the stadium.
Right, like we're shooting for the same thing as last time, if that's what the question is. So that's the goal.
Clancy says the shirt is great with the donkey. It was funny. I was trying to come up with like a Bronco one for like, let's ride, and my one friend's like, "Yo, it's got to be a donkey." Like totally non-group chat. I was like, "Oh, dude, that's such a good idea." It's such a great move. Jeremy receiving a little bit of love. B2B says Jeremy looks like a thumb with this close angle camera. It's a very hairy thumb.
Look at all the love. That's love.
It's okay. It's all the same. It's all fine. Hype says Davis is a free agent as of 6/1 and can now negotiate a deal. Corey Davis, is that who he's referring to? Is now a free agent as of June 1? I would be stunned if he came back.
Me too. That's a name we heard, like, okay, he's coming back to the league, and then have not heard anything. Like, he didn't take visits anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
None of that stuff. Bizarre.
Yeah, it feels very weird to see him come in. I feel like teams might be a little bit hesitant, but I also heard he hadn't been reinstated. So if this is true hype, this is news to me. I have not obviously kept up on it, I guess. See, Sean says Jeremy's head is big because he has so much knowledge stored. See?
That's my guy. That's my guy.
They love
my butt.
Sean is my... Let's see. I thought I saw... Where'd it go? Blitz Crew comes in, says, for our defense's sake, I want them to play Zach. I mean, I would love them to play Zach just because of the comments Zach made, like, after that Patriot game. Do you think you'll let your defense down? No. It's like, all right, let these guys pin their ears back and just be like, this is because of everything you've done to us the last 2 years. The fans would be rabid. Like, it would make for such a good 1 o'clock game. It would be so awesome. So awesome to see. Jeremy, I know you're panicked. You don't necessarily want to see Zach. Matt, you had said you're fine with any of the quarterbacks playing. Do you want a little bit of Zach Wilson? You want to see that zest added onto that game?
No, I don't care about Zach Wilson anymore.
Oh, come on.
I don't. I mean, what do you want me to say? He's not on the team anymore. Why do we have to do this with these guys? Be like, I don't know, 8 years from now, Sam Darnold's going to get a random spot start and win a game, and we'd be like, I remember back in 2020, we should have kept Sam Darnold and traded down. Let it go. Let it go. It's okay. It's going to be fine.
So we've been traveling in the car. And oh, go on, Jeremy. Sorry.
I was just going to say, I just want to route. I want to crush them. I want to win easily.
Like
I just want to
70 burger. I want to put up more points than the Dolphins put up. That's what I would like to see next year. That'd be wonderful. Speaking on the Let It Go, Matt, we watched Frozen with the girls, and now we're driving home. And anytime we're in like a long car ride, we gotta start playing the kids' song. So that way Shay's like not fussing. And we started putting Let It Go on. So now like I'm hearing like the last note of each line. There's Let It Go. Go from the back, and it's the most adorable thing on the planet. So I thought I'd share that with you guys right now. Obviously, Ren can't say anything. Oh, it's so great, so great, great song. Number one in the car rides. Crossfire says, "I am fucking there this time." Yeah, Crossfire was supposed to be with us last time. We wound up giving away 2 tickets to some lucky winners. They were very, very happy. But Crossfire actually gets to come hang out with us this time. We're very much looking forward to hanging out with you. And it's a 1 o'clock game too. So like people can actually come in for the weekend. Last year we did the Monday night game. And aside from like obviously Aaron Rodgers going down the very beginning of the whole shebang, we got very lucky with a little stretch of winning just prior to that. And then all the wheels came off. So Crossfire, we're looking forward to having you there.
I think we just make it in the window of the Cyclone definitely being open because it's before October, so we're good.
I was going to say, I think when we were talking to Green Bean last week, he was saying how he still wants to do the whole weekend. So for those of you that want to fly in, like, hey, we'll try to do the Coney Island Cyclone on that Saturday, I believe. Game is going to be on Sunday. We'll figure some stuff out. We're looking forward to it. I think it's going to be a good time. I think just being out there for a day game, as much as like I feel like I've always been to 1 o'clock games forever being a Jet fan, and now we just got a zillion night games. It is nice to like be able to land on a game that I think we should be able to win. We should dominate. It should be a convincing win. There's going to be a little bit of heat with the Hackett, Rodgers, Sean Payton-ness of it all. Like, Matt, do you think there's going to be any extra oomph in there because of Sean Payton's comments last year, or do you think those demons were exercised during last year's game and this is just a new game?
Ryan, you got to start letting stuff go, man. Well, we can't.
Dude, no.
Come on.
Get out of here. Get out of here. God. What the hell was that? Jeremy, do you think there's any more heat after what Sean Payton said about Nathaniel Hackett, given that Aaron Rodgers was not the starter when we played them last year?
Is there any more heat because of the 98 championship game?
What the hell? Where's my mute button?
There's more the 98 playoff game. I still have heat because we didn't beat them offensively. It was kind of a joke. They kind of made Hackett like, oh, you did. We didn't really play well against Denver last year at all because we didn't have a quarterback. So I want to pound him really bad. I would love for him to. Well, that didn't come out wrong. I really want him to get killed and get slaughtered if he does have Zach Wilson start, because then it's like, oh, well, you opened up your mouth, but you didn't do any better with Zach Wilson as your quarterback. So you look, you're trash.
Sorry, Matt. I got heated. I'm going to let it go.
Oh, there you go.
Oh, geez. Frankie says the Broncos have one of the worst rosters in the NFL. If we lose to them, whoever the quarterback is, shame on us. Yeah, look, there's reasons why, teams drop games, and hopefully that's not one of them. That was the one I was kind of hoping would be like the home opener. Like, I hate that the home opener's on Thursday. It really bugs the heck out of me. Jeremy, I don't know if have we talked about the schedule? I might have had you on a Talkin' Jets draft filling in for Dom, and we talked about it. Any thoughts on the Patriots coming to MetLife on a Thursday for the home opener?
Well, I'm glad if we have to have that weird start to the season, you know, and we're playing on a Thursday. I'm glad it's the Patriots because honestly, I have no respect for their roster. I don't believe. I mean, we beat them. We broke the jinx, so that thing is done. They're got a new coach. I mean, let's just face it. If we're being honest, you don't want to underestimate any team. You don't want. I mean, you shouldn't because it's the NFL. But the reality is, they are one of the easiest teams on our schedule. And if you're gonna have this weirdness and have to play on a Thursday, I'm relieved that it's New England because I think that even if we don't play our best game, we're still gonna beat them, and then we get the nice 10-day rest. You know, so then it turns into an advantage. We'll be really well rested, and we'll get that Denver game and kick their ass too.
Oh yeah, a little mini bye heading into the Sean Payton, Broncos, Zach Wilson, JFM revenge game coming to New York. Screw them. I love it. Peter saying it's reality check Thursday, except with Ryan joining in. Yeah. So boys and girls, the three other shows we do, Talkin' Jets Draft, Reality Check, and Armchair GM, will be back first week. I think January or July 29th is what we're talking about. That week leading into what I believe is the first week of training camp. I don't know if those dates have been released yet. But we're going to bring those shows back. Just not a whole lot going on right now. And rather than us twiddling thumbs, I don't know about you guys. I got to put in a little bit of time with the wife. Been doing too much streaming, so there hasn't been a whole lot of content going on the Jets talk side of things. I drop a video. I think I've done like one a week for the last like 3 weeks. But thank you guys for having me on Reality Check right now. I'm greatly I'm flattered.
I mean, we're in a nighttime slot. It's like the whole thing. Everything we want and so much more. And yeah, I'm excited to bring those shows back, recharge the batteries in June, and then get back after it.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, and I absolutely love that Peter brought it up. Thank you for bringing up the show and everything. And that's really cool that it's catching on with some of you and you like it.
Hell yeah. Ricky says, Gibson caught a 59-yard bomb from Rodgers today. They def have a role for him. Look, I hope so. I think Gibson's going to be probably, I guess it depends how they view Corley. Is Corley going to be a returner for us? That's kind of what I've envisioned with Gibson backing him up. But with Tariq Cohen coming in, maybe there's some chance that they want to not have Corley in at returning, and maybe it is actually going to be Gibson. Matt, what are your thoughts on where we go with returner overall? Like, is Gibson a lock for this team because he was on it last year? What do you think his role ultimately ends up being?
I don't think he's a lock. I know he had a massive play in week 1 and helped win that game against the Buffalo Bills, and he'll be a legend for that for, always. But after that, I thought he was shaky at best as a returner. There were some okay moments, but he looked very unsure of himself at times. So he's probably the front runner for the position, but I don't think it's a lock that he is beating out, any of the guys. Tariq Cohen. I would love to see Malachi Corley back there, to be honest with you. I think he would be fantastic as a returner. I know Izzy got some run on that last year, so we'll see who they end up choosing for that option, but I don't think it's a guarantee that Gibson's going to be the guy.
Jeremy, what about you? You think Gibson winds up making this roster, or you think he's a threat to maybe get bumped?
I think he's going to make the roster. I do. I don't know what they're going to do and who's going to get cut. But if you put a gun to my head and say yes or no, is he going to be on the? Is Gibson going to be on the roster? I'm going to go with yes. I think they really like him. I think he was a little shaky, but I think they see a lot of potential in him. Not just because of the returning, but I do think they see potential in him as as a guy who can come in a little bit, mix in with some of the gadget plays as well. Let's play a little slot. He's explosive. He's dangerous when he gets the ball. He just got to work out some kinks, which is to be expected when you have an undrafted free agent rookie. People have to remember that last year made total sense that he'd have some learning curves.
Knob comes in and says, can we get a clip of Jeremy saying, I want to pound him on loop? Jeremy, did you say I want to pound him during this stream and I totally missed it? Because if that's true and someone wants to timestamp it for us down below, I would love to go back and just hit replay on that a bunch of times.
I caught myself. I was like, when we were talking about Sean Payton, I said, I want to pound. I almost said that's what she said. But
that's so great.
I did. I'm famous for that. Every once in a while I'll come up with one or it'll come out and I'll have to live it down for a while. But yeah, like definitely we should timestamp that. It's and Knobcraft is someone you could definitely count on to get that information to us.
Good man, Knob. Q Lake drops in and says Brees needs to drag his third leg all over Peyton's crying face at the end of the game. That is a very colorful depiction of what you want to see happen. Love it. Absolutely love it. Sneakers Boots comes in, says AVT better not play that game. Don't care that we're at home this time against Denver. Yeah, do we want AVT playing regardless against Denver? Is it just a Denver thing? I'm willing to forego whatever positives it is to have AVT in one game just to like omit him just in case it's a Bronco thing, not just an away game Bronco thing. Matt, any concern with AVT and how his leg might be holding up? He hasn't been practicing yet, obviously, with the Achilles.
Yeah, I mean, maybe just run a no offensive, just the center and Aaron Rodgers. Just Joe Tippmann, Aaron Rodgers, like street ball. Like you play in the street and you have to, 3 seconds you block and then you're able to go out for a pass.
Mm-hmm.
I would say those rules for this game, so maybe avoid injury. Although Joe Tippmann's still susceptible to injury, so maybe like Xavier Newman, you get rewarded for your amazing play against the Giants last year. You get to be our one offensive lineman for the Denver game.
Crossfire comes in and says the mystery of Crossfire will end. Blitzcrew and 𝐬𝐿 better be there as well. Got lots to fight it out finally. Winner gets all the super chats. So Blitzcrew's definitely coming. Excited for that. I haven't seen 𝐬𝐿's pop through yet. If he'd like to, it would be awesome. All you guys, it's nice. It's nice getting to like put faces to the usernames. Yeah. The draft party was a lot of fun. That was a good time. Jeremy, you were there. Draft party was a blast. And this time, we're actually going to witness a win, not just like our team going up and making the selection of a player. So like for as rowdy as the crowd was for the draft party, I expect to be that much rowdier come week 4 against the Broncos.
Oh, it's going to be crazy. I mean, if Hennessy thinks I was like messing with him and throwing him around the room last time, just wait till we get to that parking lot. I mean, I'm going to choke slam that little guy.
I had a shirt that I was trying to get mocked up, and I'm still playing with the idea, but it was going to be like an Aaron Rodgers, Zach Wilson's mom, like Mile High Club type shirt. And I was like, I don't think I can do that. I just gotta, as Matt would say, let it go.
Let it go. Let it go. He's not our quarterback anymore.
Oh my God. I'm gonna start singing that in the car when that pops up now. I love it. That's a great rendition, Matt. Between Jeremy saying he wants to pound him out and Matt singing, we've got some great timestamp moments for you guys down below. If you want to get in on next week's t-shirt giveaway, make sure you timestamp some of these moments and you'll be qualified for next week's giveaway. Brian Bourne comes in, says, many in the sports science injury department was fired 1 to 2 months ago because we have had too many injuries. I haven't heard who the replacements are at present. How do we know we have resolved this issue? So we've changed 2 things, I believe, in the last 3 years. And Matt, you can correct me. Jeremy, correct me if I'm wrong. I think we changed our strength and conditioning coaches like 2 years ago. And I think this is a new change of staff. I don't think it's that same staff. Matt, do you know what I'm talking about? Because I don't fully understand what I'm talking about right now, but I feel like I remember hearing it at one point.
That they changed the staff this offseason?
No. I know they changed it this offseason, but is it the same staff that was changed like 2 years ago, or is this a different, is the medical staff or whatever different from whatever, like, I guess a sports science injury? I don't know. It felt like it was a different terminology than what was changed out like 2 years ago.
It is. It is different roles there than what it was 2 years ago. So they have made some, I would say, much needed changes after the last 2 years. I mean, you look at the injuries they sustained, not only in 2023, but in 2022, clearly it wasn't going right. So even if they aren't the answer, I hope they do for obvious reasons, but I hope they are the answer. But I think a change needed to be made just based off merit alone.
Jeremy, what do you think about the swapping out of the medical side of our coaching staff or facility team? And do you think it actually helps us? Does it do anything? I mean, we swapped it 2 years ago, and shit went sideways the last 2 years.
You know, I mean, the rehabs didn't go great for a lot of them, and I mean, I would be more. It's hard to blame them for the injuries themselves. I mean, I don't know what they could. If they were hamstring pulls, you'd say, okay. You know, if they were calf strains, if they were things that were preventable with proper stretching and preparation, then you start to question it. You know what I want to do, and I'm not even joking. People can say I'm not even trying to be funny here. Here's a name for you, a guy, and it doesn't have to be him, but a guy I know in this world, a guy like this. You get a guy like Frankie from Flatbush. I'm totally serious. Someone that, forget about his past experience working for an NFL team. You get a guy with a brain who's proven to be a smart, critical thinker. You take him and you stick him in the organization to just figure it out for us. To just look at the field, look at the options, look at what we're doing, and look at what other teams do and do research and get data. A critical thinker to just freaking figure it out. And if it turns out that it's just bad luck, he'll figure that out and at least we'll know. But that's what I want to know. I just want to know we have someone smart in there to just focus on it and figure out the problem, because it feels like it can't be a coincidence. It feels like it's it's too much of an outlier.
There's guys that are getting injured that have never been injured before. Rogers popping Achilles, never been injured before. Like literally, you could rattle off names. Like literally every name of every player that stepped foot on this Jets uniform, you know, not injured before. What happened? All of a sudden he's injured. Mekhi Becton, never injured in college. Boom, injured his entire NFL career with the Jets. It's frustrating. Done with it. I just want to stay healthy. The Bills didn't have a backup offensive lineman come in until the playoffs. The playoffs. We had, 13, 14 offensive linemen throughout the season?
Crazy.
Silly.
Unreal.
Crazy. They got to figure it out for real. They can't sit there every year and say it's just bad luck. Someone has to come in there and figure this out.
Blitz Crew coming in says, any updates on Woody's weekly grass meetings? I would like to believe Woody is a frequent user of the 𝐎'𝐿𝐴 Jets Talk promo code, and he's getting on that grass. I want to see grass on the field. Right now, I'm so done with this damn turf field. But it sounds like it's the Mara family. It sounds like that might be why the contention and the rumors are swirling of the Jets possibly opting out of the MetLife deal. Maybe that's enough of a shock factor for the Jets. Like, hey, if we threaten to back out of this MetLife deal, then the Giants are going to have to foot a bigger bill on their yearly expenses. And just by going to grass should save a lot more money than the Jets opting out, even if it means us building a new stadium. I don't know. Jeremy, you think we're getting grass at any point other than the World Cup?
I think we're going to need a new stadium before we see that. It's annoying because there's no numbers that people have thrown at me that make any sense not to do it. Well, it would cost $1 million each time. Okay. $8 million? Okay, who cares? We're talking about, they pay players $30 million a year each. When you lose a $30 million player, you're losing more than $8 million in your fan base when you start losing games. And you're not bringing the attendance. It's a multi-billion-dollar industry. Figure it out, spend the money, and do whatever it takes to protect the players.
So now I got to do a little bit of math real quick. How many seats you think are in MetLife Stadium ballpark? 80,000?
I think it's 100.
I feel like it's not 100. I think it's under that. Maybe that's like with box seating and everything. So I guess that would still factor in. So let's say 80,000 fans. And at one point, now maybe this season's probably not the correct one, but there was a point where the game day tickets were going for cheaper than the price of a beer inside the stadium. We have seen years like that. So to Jeremy's point, if your season doesn't end because of some stupid injury because of grass versus turf, 80,000 people times, let's call it $10, that's $800,000 right there. And that's assuming that's all you're making from a $10 ticket. You're going to make a lot more if it's $150, a $200, a $300, a $400, a $500 ticket. Like this is like bare bones math here.
Yeah, we haven't even we haven't talked about the peanut.
I had to do 80,000 times 10 with a calculator.
but also the peanuts, the pretzels, the beer, the hot dogs, the parking, the paying for parking. I mean, come on, astronomical how much money they're losing by the middle of the season when we're freaking have no chance to make the playoffs.
Times 2. It's the Jets and the Giants. It's by not having grass. If the Giants are losing players as well, like it's frustrating. I don't know.
It's frustrating, man.
I hate everyone. Crossfire comes in and says, by the way, I take back the not winning. I want the pillow. So Crossfire, your name will be added for all your super chats that you've thrown in. Crossfire still trying to get his pillow. He got 2 hats, and I did see a comment from Lowski in there. Matt, I think I missed an email from Lowski.
Yeah, I forwarded it to your email.
Perfect. Okay. King Lowski will make sure to get you out your stuff. I think he won it last week, if I'm not mistaken. So we'll get it out to you. Crossfire knows it well. I usually wind up responding like a week later, and I'm fried by the time the show's over. But we'll get it out to you. Crossfire wants a pillow. 𝐀𝐮𝐫𝐚 says, Chaos looks like a dude's pee-pee between shaves. That's not very nice. That's not true. That's not true. I think you look beautiful, Jeremy.
He's got to get the lawnmower 5.0 going now.
See? That's what it is. Promo code O'Leary.
Nobody's figured it out. I pretty much just shave everything up here once a month or once every 5 or 6 weeks, and I just let it grow until I do it again.
I was going to say, it looks like you shave the top part a little bit more frequently.
No, that's cold.
Yeah, that's all right. Oh, man. What else are we talking about in the chat? I'm just trying to scroll through. Rico says, I thought the staff was fired, came in with Salad. Yeah, that's possible. I might have my years mixed up. That's possible. Knob says the Jets defensive line is going to pound Zach so hard that Benson and Stabler will be giving him the post-game interview. Oh, jeez. Knobcraft says 82,500 500 seats at MetLife Stadium. Curly says tickets are paid for already, though. It's all worse cards about. All worse cards about. Not all the tickets are paid for, though, because the Jets, I don't think the Jets have sold out season tickets in a long time. Like, we're talking back, I think, before MetLife. I think once they instituted the PSLs, I think that list went away. I could be wrong, though. But, yeah, as far as those games being paid out, I mean, that happened to us with the Chargers game. We bought all these tickets for the Chargers game last year, and then ticket sales essentially stopped week one after Rodgers went down, and they're like, sucks. Like, those tickets are going to be worthless from a price perspective. We're like, oh, thanks. Awesome. Very cool.
Hey, different argument. Look at the difference in money from making the playoffs and having 1 or 2 home playoff games. Do the math for that. Too.
Yeah, I mean, you're talking the base level ticket of a playoff game has got to be nosebleeds, end zone, $200 probably.
Yeah,
got to think at least that. Matt, what do you think a playoff ticket in MetLife's going to run?
On the secondary market or like from the actual?
It would probably have to be secondary market because it would go through season ticket holders first, and then I feel like just every bot on Ticketmaster just auto buys everything and it's gone immediately.
Yeah, I think it's going to be $250 to get in the building, and I'm talking like cheapest ticket, like the $200.
I believe it. I mean, put it this way: the last time the Jets and Giants were kind of relevant, when we had that Victor Cruz just friggin' run for, what was it, 99 yards against us, the tickets to get into that game, my buddy and I couldn't get in for under $200 a ticket. That was not a playoff game. Granted, it was Jets and Giants both trying to get into the same game, but you know what I did? I took my money that I planned on buying a ticket with. I was like, I'll get a ticket last second. Why not? We bought tickets to the parking lot. Tried to scalp tickets, couldn't get any. Drove out to the Hooters on 17, watched all the games, drank all the beer, and spent like $55. $55 each. Now totally different. And I'm glad I wasn't there because the Jets wound up losing anyway. So whatever.
It was a horrible game.
Terrible game. Crossfire says Jeremy is a god amongst men. So hey, look, that Crossfire he's a pretty good guy. You know what we're gonna find out? We're gonna find out Crossfire is Jeremy. I have never seen Crossfire and Jeremy in the same room at the same time.
I don't want to put any conspiracies out there, but it's not looking too good for our guy Jeremy.
There's so many rumors of who I am, though. Every time any new character comes along, it's got to be Jeremy.
We had a coworker that I worked with, and it's a little bit squirrely at sometimes, but we also had a bear at the golf course I worked at. And the bear would get into the garbage, and we were like, we haven't seen this employee and the bear at the same time. It is entirely possible that this person is really just the bear dressed up all the time. Yeti says, that golf course has Ryan looking super tan. He looks like he's from another country in between you two. Wow, thank you. I've actually been outside doing yard work and stuff, and also my lighting's slightly off because, bam, new sign in the background. Doesn't have new LEDs on it yet, so the lighting isn't brighter behind me, which would brighten up some of the other stuff. So, yeah, it's darker in here than I was expecting. But I'll just pretend I'm so beautiful with my tan.
Good news that, I mean, both you guys know this already, but I will be moving at some point this summer. So my studio is going to look very different in a few months. I'm excited to build that out. I already have the room picked out and stuff in the house, but yeah, that's gonna be fun designing it. So like you with the new sign got the juices flowing. My Amazon cart is filling up over the last week or so.
Oh, dude, when I was moving into this house, it was like I'm saving everything in the save for later portion of the Amazon cart. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to look for that. I'm going to look for all these different little things, like stuff that I've had packed away that wasn't able to put up in the apartment. And moving into a new space is a lot of fun. Plus, I'm sure, I don't know how frequent, you probably broke down a lot of your stuff when we went to the draft party, because like that's when I took the opportunity to clean up my setup. I had to put everything back. But generally speaking, I don't break this stuff down. It's just, it's here. I go and it's like, okay, hit the power button and I'm ready to film. And so like, you'll be able to put stuff in new locations. You're going to find new homes for stuff. How much the room that you're going to be moving into from a size perspective from where you are currently right now, like how much bigger, smaller?
So very different. So where I am now, it's literally like my bedroom. Like my bed is like right next to me where I am now, and it's a very like long but skinny room. The other one's more square. So I'm gonna have to make some adjustments on it. Like I have an L-shaped desk here. I don't think that's gonna work in the new space. So I'm definitely gonna need a new desk. But I want to bring the multicam back, have the 2 camera angles. Yeah, I'm gonna have some fun and play around with it. But I got some ideas stewing, and it's gonna be fun to kind of build it out and make it my own.
My I don't know if I can do this without jacking up my camera. My desk, I have this L-shaped desk, and it is just a monster, just across. I've got my old iMac that I used to use, and then bam, 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 bam. Takes up a lot of friggin' space. And like, I probably should. The only reason I brought this desk with me from my old apartment is because it's expensive to buy a fucking desk. I was like, I'm just not going to do that right now. But like, massive space. I've never had just like a regular, 4-foot desk that would like normally fit what you need. Create a lot of space. And you could do a whole lot of different shots. My original game plan was to like, have like, oh, this portion of my room, boom, green screen, boom, this portion of my room, interviews. But like, I don't really see anyone. No one comes over to my house. So like, it's just me talking to myself. It's very cool. It's exciting. It's fun stuff.
Yeah,
do you have a date on the move-in yet?
No, not yet. 'Cause our close date is July now, but that's going to get moved up, I think. I'm fairly confident that's going to be moved up. So at some point this summer, July or August, I will be moving and building my new studio.
That is all sorts of exciting. You should totally do some behind the scenes footage on it, and like when you build it out, I feel like that's a lot of fun for people to see. Hugo Lake says, have Boyle start for the G-men. Grass will be put in. Yeah, if well, Daniel Jones missed the entire year last year, except for 2-3 games. And it still wasn't enough for them to change anything. And heck, Aaron Rodgers going down should have been enough for the NFL to be like, fine, screw it. We'll pay you guys to put grass in. Yeah. The amount of money the Jets cost the NFL on primetime games was no small feat. Hype says, Matt, I got my save the date. Thanks. Joking. Oh, Hype.
Don't scare me like that. I don't know. I've sent out so much shit in the last. I've been between the house.
Shit, I sent it to the Shopify list.
Yeah, I'd be like, I wouldn't be surprised if I was like, oh, what do you mean? You put your address in a video? You sent it out to everyone in your contacts?
Sent it out to everyone.
Thanks for the scare.
Oh, that's going to be expensive. Hype eats a lot from what I've heard. He's going to want to he's actually eating for 2. He said he got 2 plus ones.
Yeah.
Ricky says, careful what you say about coworkers, Ryan. I just got in trouble for calling the new guy urinal. Yeah, no. I think that's a great name. No, I like everyone that I work with, so I'm not spouting off too bad. That's great though. That's really friggin' funny. J-Quest, wow, awesome setup, Ryan. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. It's fun. Keuka Lake says Matt's Room of Pain. Oh boy.
Yeah.
Oh boy. I don't want to see what else is in that Amazon cart, Matt.
No. Come on, please.
This is a family show. Oh God. Let's see. Ricky says, you guys are lucky. I'm building myself a studio, still a work in progress. Yeah, Beck and I moved into so I originally started in a 1-bedroom apartment, and I was just in a little nook of that apartment. And then we bought a 4-bedroom house, and one of the bedrooms turned into this. In the event that I accidentally have a 3rd kid coming at some point, then Ryan's going to have to find another way to film videos, whether that's building a studio or forcing kids into bunk beds, one or the other. We'll see. But that's very cool, Ricky. I'm looking forward to seeing what you wind up coming up with as well. We are towards the end of our show. So, Matt, I'm going to ask you to go towards... Actually, I don't even know if we did timestamps for last week's stream. We may not have.
Go ahead, look. I'm sure people put them in.
Take a look. I don't even know if I may not have mentioned it. Last week's stream was just Green Bean and I, and it was literally just us talking back and forth. I had
there's a bunch in here.
Perfect. I had a seltzer. Oh man, dude, it knocked me on my ass. Got to the end of that stream, I was like, I am ready to go to bed.
I missed one episode and it's flying off the rails. What the hell, guys?
Oh my god! So check this out. Becca didn't close my fridge. Jerk. That's all right. So the THC seltzer company that I'm sponsored by just came out with a new flavor called Jet Life.
Wow.
And it says fly high. So I got it in the mail. I got home at 5:30 on Tuesday last week. And I was like, wow, I haven't tried this yet. I'm going to crack this open, pour it over some ice right now. And stupid me, I should have absolutely waited till hour 2 of the show. But this was probably 15, 20 minutes in. And by the time we got to the final half hour, Ryan was having a hard time putting sentences together. This is more of the Green Bean show at that point. But
dude, I made that mistake once with Nick on air, and he'll never let me forget it. I think I still have some enemies because of that show, because I couldn't shut up.
Oh, just cruising. Yeah, I was at cruising altitude. What do we got? We got 8 minutes left, so I'm just gonna keep looking at the chat, see what's popping up. Jay Quest wants to know, Matt, how the hell can you afford a house in this market? Where did you buy? What's your mortgage rate? The percentage you got? Do you know that offhand?
We haven't locked in our rate yet. That's part of the thing with the loan. have that rate lock, and when you're within distance of your closing date, which ours is still TBD, that it will change. A long time of saving money. I've lived at home for far too long. My wonderful fiance also has a phenomenal job. So between the two, it was not easy, but between the two of us, we were able to make it work, and we're very, very excited.
Crossfire says, depending on where you live, O'Leary, if you need any electrical work done, I got you for a quick cuddle. So all you're gonna have to do is be. I'm assuming. That's Jeremy. So Jeremy, Jeremy's more of a little spoon kind of guy. I love being little spoon occasionally. You're pretty tall. I don't know if you can be a little spoon.
I love being the little spoon.
It's great. It's comforting. It's like I'm back in the womb.
Oh yeah, get me in there. It's Crossfire on Long Island. Because if that is the case, I need Crossfire's info, because there are a couple things that I need done electrical wise.
Ooh.
Two things. I need what do you call it?
Ethernet everywhere.
Well, that too, obviously. But I need an outlet put in for the washer dryer, and I need a kill switch for the electrical panel installed.
Ooh, like just a big main switch.
Yeah, it's a long story, but I could tell if Crossfire is the electrician, he will. Yeah, I will give him the story.
Crossfire says, while watching you, can see the downfall of Ryan throughout the show. It was great. Yeah, dude. We started because I tried going slow, but it's only the size that can advertises 12 1-ounce servings, and I drank the entire thing in like a half hour. Put me on my ass. I got people in the chat say I could do 200. It's like, yeah, it's okay. I drank 3 more of those. I'd be in a coma.
How much is in each can? You may have done like.
So I've got
12.
2. I've got the.
Oh, it's probably 120 if it's 12.
I've got the watermelon. Well, no, I've got the watermelon seltzer that has 10 milligrams, and then there's the Jet Life, which is 50. So this is 5. Oh nope, this one is 5 times what this one is.
Yeah,
in the same size can.
Yeah. 10 is fine. 10 is you feeling good. 50, you're pretty much paraplegic, depending on how much you do.
I am well versed in my consumption, but I guess I don't usually have to be on my game when I do that. It's usually I'm gonna go watch a movie, hang out, play some video games. I gotta be on my game. I gotta be talking to people. Ugh, it's tough.
I'd be like this at 50.
Just cruising. Crossfire says, "Nice, you on Long Island." So it sounds like he is.
Yeah, Crossfire. I'm gonna need send an email. I need HVAC. If anyone in the chat that is HVAC, plumbing, or electrician, send me an email at mattoleary95@gmail.com.
You'd be surprised.
Pure Adrenaline Sports says, do we have to join the OnlyFans to be a part of the spooning? No, you could be a normal member, a normal fan to do the spooning, but for the forking, you're going to have to be an OnlyFans member.
That's the postman.
I don't think I sent you guys the video, but Shay learned how to say fork, but there's no real R. So she's just like, fork. Yeah, I'll let you guys fill in the blank on what that word sounds like without the R, but fork, 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 fork. And then holds the fork up like a champion. Fork! At the top of her lungs. I'll have to send you guys a video. It is absolutely amazing.
Ryan, we have a brunch place here called The Morning Fork. It'd be really fun to hear Shay screaming out that name.
Oh my God. I don't know if she probably can't say morning. The longest sentence that she's strung together so far is no more monkeys jumping on the bed, which I thought was pretty impressive. I'm pretty pumped on that one. She's definitely excited. She calls the, I didn't show you. Hold on. I gotta pull this up because this is too good of a picture not to show. So I mentioned it earlier, I think, or maybe it was before the stream with Tigo. I found a Power Wheels on my way home the other night, and I was able to figure out how to hook up my Milwaukee M18 like Sawzall battery up to this thing, because this thing's like 5 years old, whatever, for like $12. So for $12, I got my daughter's a Power Wheel with a Jurassic Park sticker on it, and this thing friggin' rips. This thing flies right now. And it's a lithium-ion battery, which means it charges way faster than those damn lead Power Wheels batteries. So I'm feeling very, I'm pretty handy with some stupid stuff like that. Not everything.
That's sick that you created your own power source. That's pretty awesome.
It was pretty neat. And it's got a little power switch on it. I didn't really create it. I watched other people how they did things, and I like tied it in and then slapped it on. But it's great. I got 2 of those batteries. Those batteries are, I would think, more expensive than Power Wheels, but it's an 8-volt instead of a 12-volt. God, that's good. All right, boys and girls, we have gotten to the point in our show where we are supposed to be picking a number here. So, Matt, how many people do we have on our lovely list?
So I have 33 on the list.
Awesome. And that includes the timestamps too?
Yes, it does.
Perfect. All right. So you have 33 on the list, right? That's what I heard?
Yes, 33.
33. First number posted after David D, 1 through 33. That's going to be who we pick. So let's see who it is. David D said rigged. 16 says Blitz Crew. Who's 16?
Okay, that's just fucked because Blitz Crew is 16 on my list.
Hey, there's no way. Did you mix them up? Hold on.
No.
Did you mix?
Oh, did I shuffle it?
Yeah. Did you put them all in order? Maybe Blitz Crew went back and was like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Well,
Probably not.
that's I did not shuffle.
Rigged. Rigged.
No way. We can't. Blitz Crew can't pick himself. There's no way.
I don't know. I mean, he definitely didn't count. And Blitz Crew already got a ticket for us for the Talkin' Jets buy. So Blitz Crew, this is yours. Let's see what you get. Oh, Matt, you should have seen. I didn't change it. I should have showed you it before. Blitz Crew wins a shirt. Blitz Crew. So if you want a shirt, so you're already coming out to the group buy. So if you want one of the shirts, but you also want the other shirt as well, let us know. You get a shirt from the Talkin' Jets store. But Matt, so last week when Bean and I did the wheel, it was like this close. Can you see it? This close to landing on the jersey. It like literally landed on shirt, like right next to it. We're like, oh, that was by far the closest that it's been. We're like, oh man, that would have been a doozy of a spin. But Blitz Crew wants the Yak King shirt. Hell yeah, nice. Blitz Crew. Blitz Crew, nice. Send me an email because I'm not going to remember that. And I know your stuff offhand because you've won so many times at this point, but it just helps me keep my A to B to C list in my mind. So just shoot me an email with Yak King on there, and I'll get it sent out to you. Yeah, see, Crossfire saying rigged. Crossfire only won 3 of our contests in the last, 8 or 6 contests, whatever. Crossfire's won a bunch of them. Whatever. You guys are awesome. We love you all.
Crossfire might be my new best friend. After all this,
if he helps you put together your house, yeah, be great. Boys and girls, we've reached the end of our show, so we're gonna go around our panel, give our closing thoughts. Any last words, Jeremy? Thank you so much for hopping in. Green Bean is actually gonna be off on vacation. He's taking the next month off, so we're gonna have a rotation of Jeremy, 𝐻𝐻𝐽, and Dom C pop it into the show. In the event we don't have one of them, maybe we'll throw a call-in link or something in the chat or something along those lines. But Jeremy, thank you so much for joining us, and 𝐻𝐻𝐽, thank you if you're watching still for joining us earlier. Any last words, Jeremy?
Yeah, hey, it was great to be here tonight. It's great to talk about what's coming on for the team. I know it's like slow season and there's not much to talk about. But I am seeing some Twitter stuff and some film and some plays of some pretty good plays and exciting things. So, go Jets, and let's do it this year, guys. This is our year. I can feel it.
Matt, any last words for our panel?
Yeah, I am very excited to continue to get the notes from OTAs, minicamp next week. It's starting to feel like football is coming back. I know summer's just starting, right? So we have a little bit of ways to go. But seeing the guys out there with helmets, even if they're just in shorts, it's starting to get the juices flowing. So I'm excited.
Jake West pops in and says, Ryan, I have a Jets helmet push cart thing if you want for your little one. You should totally email me a picture of it because I would totally love to see it. I have no idea what you're talking about, but that sounds awesome, Jake West. Thank you so much. Yeah, look, Jets Talk 24/7. Not a whole lot going on right now. I'm taking a little bit of time off over the summer. I'll be popping on here for the Talkin' Jets panel and dropping a video occasionally as I have time for it. But then we'll be ramping back up for training camp. If you guys did not get in on the group buy or are interested in getting on the group buy, I'll pin the comment in the first comment of the live chat, or it's in the live chat. I'll also pin it in the comment section down below of this video. Get in on our Week 4 Jets Broncos group buy. Looking forward to it. Shirt, field access after the game, includes tailgate. We'd be excited to have you there. But boys and girls, this is Jets Talk and Talkin' Jets signing off. JETS.
Just go somewhere else. I can't take this nonsense anymore. How are you going to blame the defense?
I got the pouch. Screw green bean. Damn it.
But once you get to the sausage, I feel like we're doing something.
Go Jets.
And that's the other part of it is the people are insanely jealous of this show. This show gets the best of the best, and it does a different way with positivity.
He scores!
Ow, my head. No, come on.
What would you give up to see a Jets Super Bowl?
All of my friends and family.
Hit those milk thumbs, boys and girls.
Freeze frame.
Hold on to your underwear, ladies, and stand by, bitches. It's now time for Talkin' Jets with your hosts, Matt, Ryan, and Green Bean.
Jets!